So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jennifer Romanecki. Jennifer, I'm sorry, my voice might not make it through this whole thing because you have one incredible listing of information here. So she is, of course, the CEO of Selby Gardens, and we'd like to congratulate her on her leadership from the work to bring Spanish Point into the program and now the new expansion, which I haven't seen in person, but I did see it on TV and it just looks simply amazing. So Jennifer has served on the New York Botanical Garden, one of the world's most dynamic botanical gardens, for 15 years. At New York Botanical Gardens, she was the vice president of institutional advancement and a special assistant to the president, where she was involved in many aspects of the organization's management. Earlier in her career, though I don't know how that can be, you're too young to have this long of a, anyway. She held key positions at the Metropolitan Opera and at the Solomon Guggenheim Museum. She earned her Bachelor of Arts degree in Art History and English from Lafayette College in Easton, Pennsylvania, where she graduated magna cum laude with honors in art history. Bless you. So as you all know, we are known for our scholarships and our grants. And we do have the scholarships for children of the Longboat Key employees to attend summer camps, scholarships for students majoring in the environment, and our grants to many area organizations, including Selby Gardens. We have supported Selby and the summer camps for many years and are very, very fortunate that we're going to be able to do that for many more years to come. So thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for coming. I know you've got a busy schedule, so we're going to let you get started. And I'm going to turn it over.
Thank you so much. And really, thank you so much for the support you give to Selby Gardens. You are one of our loyal champions, and it really enables so much of our important work, and we're really grateful to you. Just to remind all of you that Selby Gardens is now one organization with two campuses. So we have the downtown Sarasota campus, and then we have the historic Spanish Point campus 10 miles south. And we adopted that in May 2020. So, and it's really just a wonderful site, and I encourage you to visit both. Basically, everything we do at both campuses connects to this mission to provide bayfront sanctuaries connecting people with air plants of the world, native nature, and our regional history. So first, I just want to share the progress on the master plan for our downtown Sarasota campus. And it's really been an exciting time for us. Phase 1 has been open less than 1 week. So whenever I share the master plan, I always like to just take a step back and ask the question, why is the work of Selby Gardens important, right? Well, it's because all life on Earth depends on plants. Plants provide 96% of the oxygen we breathe, food, medicine, shelter, clean water, and a cooling system for our planet. And Selby Gardens' role is really to advance plant research to inform worldwide conservation efforts, because if we don't know what the world has, we can't conserve it. And at the same time, build awareness about the importance of plants to life as we know it. So the second question I always ask is, why was this master plan necessary? Why did we have to do it? And so really it was about solving these very key challenges. First, we have the world's best scientifically documented collections of orchids and bromeliads. They had been housed on the ground in the flood zone and aging infrastructure. Second, a better problem to have is we can no longer accommodate the thousands of visitors who want to connect with our mission. On peak days, we turn away hundreds of cars. And that's because we were never designed to accommodate the public. Our land was acquired in parcels over our 50-year history. Third, we want to preserve our historical treasures as well as our 15-acre oasis downtown. Many people never realize that Selby Gardens is privately owned. At any time, the Board of Trustees could have sold parcels for high-density development. We never want that to happen. And so probably one of the best aspects of the plan is codifying it as a botanical garden so that it can't be broken up. And then finally, we want to provide long-term fiscal and environmental sustainability. So this is the aerial shot of the new master plan. And so just to orient you, these are the gardens we all know and love. They really remain unchanged. The historic buildings are preserved. Here's the historic Selby House, the event center, as well as the landmark Payne Mansion that serves as our museum. And so you might recall that Palm Avenue used to bifurcate our land. And what we did is we lifted up that wonderful Augusta block so we could run utilities. We put the block back, and this now becomes a wonderful pedestrian-only thoroughfare through the heart of the gardens. It's really one of the best aspects of the whole site is unifying the property. Then on the east side of Palm Avenue, we put in all of the key operating infrastructure that we need. Our living energy access facility, or the LEAP. Yes, it houses parking. It also has a one-story garden to plate restaurant and a new gift shop. But the kicker is the 50,000 square foot solar array that's going up next week that will make us the first net positive botanical garden complex in the world, generating more energy than we consume. You can see a new welcome center pavilion, a new plant research center to house all of our research collections, lots of new garden features and water features, new glass houses, an indoor-outdoor learning pavilion, and more. So really, it's a very comprehensive site plan. And it has so many benefits to the community. So I mentioned that we're going to be the world's first net positive botanical garden complex. And basically, if you've heard of LEED certification, we're actually seeking certification that's well past that through the International Living Futures Institute, their Living Buildings Challenge, which is the idea that you can build buildings that not only don't harm the environment, but actually help the environment. And so that solar array is going to generate nearly 1 megawatt of power, making us truly an international model for sustainability. In addition, under the footprint of the project is a cutting-edge stormwater management system that will allow us to collect rainwater, clean it, and return it to Hudson Bayou. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of gallons of water per year. And it's really, really going to be a tremendous benefit. Also, we contributed from our property to create a multi-use recreational trail around the perimeter that's publicly accessible and set back from 41, just to provide better walkability and accessibility to the downtown. And we also are connecting that trail to the city's waterfront parklet adjacent to our land, again, to promote walkability. And also, all of the buildings are designed to the utmost resiliency for hurricanes, which we know is so important. And in addition, the project includes off-site roadway improvements. So we contributed from our land to create a designated lane on Orange Avenue just for visitors coming to Selby Gardens, as well as a designated lane on Mound Street just for our visitors in order to take the pressure off the roadway there. And I'm excited to say that the economic benefit of the project has really been kept local. So we embarked on a workforce training program with the Gulf Coast Builders Exchange, the Career Edge funders of the Chamber of Commerce, as well as our construction manager, Willis Smith. And the idea was to look for the trades where we were lacking local labor, provide training locally, and then give hiring priority to the subcontractors who hired the trainees who graduated the program. And so, you know, I think what's great is that the project has truly benefited Sarasota. And the project is expected to generate more than $78 million in economic impact. So why shouldn't that go to our region? And that's what we've really worked hard to do. And so with that, I want to give you a glimpse of the newly opened phase 1 of the facilities. This video was taken just last week at the ribbon cutting ceremony, so take a look. So there you see the new welcome center. Oh, there's the music, okay. It's an open air welcome pavilion. New lily pond garden. New library. New research center. A new restaurant, which will open to the public in February. Welcome theater. Pretty exciting, right? Yeah. So that's phase one, which is completed as of last week. And just to sort of give you the outline, so this is a 3-phase master site plan, and phase one is open to the public. And really, phase one is the largest part of the project. It consists of the living energy access facility, which houses the parking, the restaurant, the shop, as well as the solar array on the roof. The new welcome center, the adjacent plant research center, which also has a solar array on the roof, all the surrounding garden features, the lily pond garden, the multi-use recreational trail around the perimeter, the traffic improvements. So all of that, everything you see here is what is complete for phase one. Phase two will focus on the glass houses for our living collection. So we are looking at building hurricane resilient glass houses, which is, not an easy feat. In addition, adjacent to the glass houses will be an indoor-outdoor learning pavilion for all of our education programs. And then phase three unifies the pathways throughout the footprint of the downtown campus, fixes our dockage and seawalls, and also includes a full historic renovation of the landmark Payne Mansion, which serves as our museum building. And so I'm thrilled to say that we've raised over $57 million for this undertaking, which includes $51.6 million to fully fund phase one. And what's amazing about that is that more than 98% of the funding is private. So this really is a gift to our region. All of it's private except for 2 grants we received from the state of Florida's Department of Economic Opportunity, totaling $1.1 million. And that's because of the economic impact, the job training, and the job creation that is a key part of the project. And so just to take a little bit of a slower look at phase one. So right here, you see our new open air welcome pavilion. And it's really exciting. It's an example of biophilic design where design mirrors nature. And so you can see the branches are like a tree canopy. This is really like trees. And you can see that the shade structure is like a tree canopy with cutouts so that shaded light comes through. And so the principles of biophilic design have really been incorporated throughout the project, as well as biomimicry. This is a view of our welcome gallery. So now once you're in the welcome center, you get to go to this gallery and really learn about our research and our mission right up front, about the cutting edge plant research that we do that has typically been behind the scenes. This is the lobby of our new plant research center. In February, we will have behind the scenes tours available weekly of the Plant Research Center. And so this is the lobby, and you can see images of important plants in our living plant collection. And what's amazing is all the wood touches in the project are reclaimed wood from the site that have been repurposed. So you can see the atrium and the ceiling is this wonderful old mahogany, And there are wood touches that you'll see throughout that are really, again, about sustainability. This shows you our new library. Many people don't realize we have rare books and prints dating to the 1700s. And so we now have a proper library with a rare books room that has the proper climate control to steward such a rare and important collection. And you can see these wonderful reading areas within the library, which will be open by appointment. This again is the top floor of the research center, and you get a better glimpse of that wonderful atrium of reclaimed mahogany wood. And then this is a picture of our new shop. So for shoppers out there, our new shop's amazing. There are all kinds of new products, whether it's plants, there are also reclaimed wood products, and other items that we have launched just with the opening of phase 1. And here's a picture of the actual ribbon cutting and the board cutting the ribbon. This was just 1 week ago today. And, you know, it was a really distinguished occasion where we commemorated the last 50 years by looking ahead to the future 50 years and putting in the infrastructure we need for the future 50. And there's the city of Sarasota Mayor, Liz Alpert, and a number of our guests, our donors, contributors, board of trustees that gathered to commemorate the opening. And this is the entrance to the Plant Research Center, and you can see how it's a wonderful living wall with bromeliads. Basically, every surface has been planted, which is really exciting. And you'll see even on the parking structure, if you've driven by, we're using a Jacob wire system. And so you see these cables and the vines are being trained to go up them. Well, shortly, that building will be entirely encased in plants. And we're really excited about that. This gives you an aerial shot of Palm Avenue Promenade and how that becomes pedestrian only. And then you see this epicenter. In phase 2, that circle will be completed. So in phase 1, we have half of it with all kinds of new landscape features and public access. It really is exciting and a totally transformed visitor arrival and entry. And remember, this whole area was just surface parking and residential non-historic structures that were in poor condition. And now it's all been turned into garden space, which we're really excited about. And again, this is one more view looking from Orange Avenue out toward the new buildings and the bay. So one of the key changes that we made to our operation over the last several years is that we repositioned ourselves as the living museum. So what does that mean? Well, museums have changing exhibits, programs, and events to garner repeat visitation, broaden their audiences. We never want to hear you say, I've been to Selby Gardens, it's beautiful, as if you don't have a reason to come back. So especially those of you who are members, you're always getting messages from us about the changing exhibits and programs. And right now we have the Rainforest Mass of Costa Rica up. How many of you have ever seen that show? So this is the 20th year of the show, and it's really a wonderful collaboration. It's on view now through January 21st. So if you haven't seen it yet, I encourage you to stop by. There are these wonderful hand-carved masks by this Barucan Indian tribe of Costa Rica. And the masks are actually for sale with a percentage of the proceeds benefiting the artists as well as Selby Gardens. Also, we're getting ready for the next exhibit in the Jean and Alfred Goldstein exhibition series, which is our core series that intertwines arts and nature. And so the next show in the series opens February 11th, Yayoi Kusama, A Letter to Georgia O'Keeffe. And the idea with this series is to look at major artists through the lens of their connection to nature in our botanical garden setting. And in this case, we have two titans, these two amazing female artists that are world-renowned, and also their work is really essentially rooted in nature. But no one would ever put them together. And so the genesis for this idea is correspondence between the two artists from the 1950s. And basically, Kusama was a young artist starting out in Japan, and she wrote to Georgia O'Keeffe, who was an established female artist, and wrote to her for advice because she was struggling to jumpstart her career as an artist in what she considered a male-dominated environment. Georgia O'Keeffe answered her letter and encouraged her to move to New York and to break free and to advance her career. And so there's this wonderful correspondence between the two artists, as well as a historic meeting in New York. And so this exhibit is the first of its kind to explore the two artists together in a botanical garden setting. So I encourage you to come and see that when it opens soon. Also, right now at our historic Spanish Point campus, we have a fabulous exhibit on Clyde Butcher, Nature Through the Lens. And so I'm sure many of you are familiar with nature photographer Clyde Butcher, where he takes these monumental black and white images rooted in the natural landscape. Well, for the first time, his works are being shown outdoors. He allowed us to print them on metal in large format, and they're sited in the natural landscape. And it really makes for a totally different experience to look at his black and white images set in the natural landscape of the historic Spanish Point campus. So I have this short video highlighting the exhibit. So take a look at this. So that's on view right now. I encourage you to check it out. It really is an amazing presentation of this artist's work. And then just as far as upcoming events, we have lots happening. Everything's on selby.org, but we're getting ready for our spring exhibition evenings where we have performing arts groups that connect their performances to the spring exhibit. So we have 4 of those evenings coming up this spring. We also have our garden music series that is taking place both at the downtown campus and the historic Spanish Point campus. These are Sundays coming up, just a wonderful afternoon to sit out and listen to music in the gardens. And then we have also embarked on performances at the Point, where we have different performance evenings at the historic Spanish Point campus. So there's a lot coming up. And in addition, we have this wonderful program that connects both of our campuses by boat called Set Sail with Selby Gardens. And this runs every Saturday. And it's a wonderful full-day excursion where you start at the downtown campus, board the boat, take the 10-mile run to historic Spanish Point, tour there, have lunch, and take the boat ride back. And if you haven't tested that out, I encourage you to do so. It's really fun and a great way to get on the water and enjoy both campuses. And actually, the funding that your club gave us last year underwrote an experience to set sail with Selby Gardens for this wonderful nonprofit called the J5 Group. And this is a group of underserved children from single mothers that really partake in mentorship opportunities. And your funding enabled this group to do a full day excursion on Set Sail with Selby Gardens, which was just absolutely wonderful. And in addition, your funding enabled us to send 2 underserved children for each of our camp sessions through our summer camp. And, you know, it's really the experience of these children in our summer camps. It's really, you know, an unbeatable experience, something so memorable. And, you know, we are really grateful for the scholarships that you have made possible over the years that enable underserved children to partake in these summer camps. And we have a summer camp session at the downtown campus, as well as at the historic Spanish Point campus. And your support has enabled these children to take part. So we thank you so much for that. And so there's a lot going on at Selby Gardens. I just wanted to touch on some of the key highlights of what's happening right this moment and what's coming up. But with that, I wanted to open it up for any questions you might have about the project, any of our programs, or anything coming up. So any questions? Yes.
I went to the opening, it's fabulous, it's absolutely gorgeous. My question is so if I want to bring family that come from California, are there certain days of the week that there are tours throughout that complex where you have this?
Yes,
Yeah.
so basically, I mean, we have regular group tours, but the Plant Research Center will have a weekly behind the scenes tour starting in February.
Okay.
And so you'll be able to register for that on our website. So, and the Research Center houses the library as well as all of our preserved collections. The rest of phase 1 is fully accessible. However, the restaurant doesn't open to the public till sometime in February. We had a little party in there last week, but we're just waiting for our final licenses, and we expect that to be up and running in February, but the shop is open and running. Great. Yes.
We went to the, actually it was the garden club, we did a tour, it was the first day that Spanish Point with the Clive Butcher show was open to the public, and he was there that day, so we can on an extra.
Great.
But, one thing that we're talking about was the boat from the downtown campus down. And, they mentioned that there was the possibility that you might be adding another day during the week because
Yes.
it's so popular.
That's right. So we are looking at adding a second day. And so we'll let you know when we do, but it's really popular and people love it. And so we're working with a boat operator that to see if we can add more. So we'll keep you posted. Great. Yes.
How long has this planning been in the works? And who spearheaded it, or I was gonna say, I have the bright idea.
Yeah.
No. So what happened is so
You can pay me later.
It was quite a journey, as many of you know. But when I was hired in 2015, the board knew that a master plan was necessary. I mean, we have the rarest collections of their kind, and they were truly in harm's way. So when I joined the institution in February 2015, I knew a master plan was going to be necessary to get done and implement. So we started the planning process in 2016, and then it was, I believe, 2017 after Hurricane Irma that really put an exclamation point on our need to act. And that was when we put the pedal to the metal and started, really moving forward. And it was a very intricate process with land use and zoning and everything you can imagine. I'm sure some of you followed it along the way. Don't believe everything you read. But yeah, and as stewards of this institution and myself as CEO, we knew we had to get it done. And that's why we kept going. We're really excited to have completed phase 1. All of our preserved scientific collections are now out of harm's way. We do need to tackle the living collections for phase 2 because, they're on the ground in glass houses. We lost one behind the scenes glass house in Hurricane Ian. So we know, we're not done, but we did accomplish quite a lot with phase one, and we are happy about that. Yes,
Well, it sounds so exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. One thing I remember from the past that I love so much about it was that tree with that beautiful Queen of the Night plant. Were they able to put that now somewhere else? That vine
Yes.
was just one of the most highlights of my life to witness that in that one night where it bloomed and then it closed and.
I love that you brought that up. So it was one of the highlights of my life when I first saw it as a New Yorker. I showed up here and one night it bloomed and I was bowled over and I said, to my botany team, I said, is there any way you can predict when this is going to bloom so we can invite people? And our head of botany was like, I can predict it in 12 hours in advance. And so that's when we started those invites. So yes, I'm thrilled to say that we transplanted that Selena cereus, the night blooming cereus, to the live oak arrival court, which is that big turnaround, those center wonderful old live oaks. It was successfully transplanted, and I expect that you'll hear from us about a flowering this May or June. So, but yeah, and we made cuttings from it as well, and we're growing more of them.
Great.
Yeah, great. Yes,
I was there for the plant sale on Saturday, so I got to see that's beautiful.
great.
My question is, I know you had a lot of opposition from the neighborhood. Have you had any feedback since it opened and it's so
Yeah.
impressive?
So, so basically, we had a very vocal minority that was adjacent to us, and it's been radio silent since we opened. But we also, along the process, we did a compromise master plan on a second round. We really incorporated a tremendous amount of their feedback. So, at the end of the day, you're never gonna win everyone over, but we feel we did absolutely the best possible plan for the safety and security of Selby Gardens and its sustainability for the future, as well as providing a gift to our community. And it really is a gift because of that private funding. So I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I look forward to having all of you visit for sure. Yes.
What is your timeline for phase two?
So I'm not sure yet. We are in the planning stages, and as soon as we know more, we will share more, but we do feel that it is urgent, particularly the glass house collections. So as soon as we know more, we will share the news for sure. Great. Terrific. Well, oh yes.
Before you came from New York, did you have any background in botany or?
So I actually, I tell everyone, and you heard a little bit in the introduction, I tell everyone that I started out in visual art at the Guggenheim Museum, moved to performing art at the Metropolitan Opera, and ended up in living art at the New York Botanical Garden. So I was at the New York Botanical Garden for 15 years. And really was on the operational side, fundraising. I led their campaign, and I became special assistant to the president, where I just learned a lot about operations. So botany and plants rubbed off on me. But I'm not a PhD. I have PhDs that work for me, and I have a great admiration and appreciation for plants, and have just learned a lot on the job. And so I had no real intention of leaving New York, but I was recruited for this position, and it was an opportunity to be the CEO, and I saw the tremendous potential of this garden. I mean, sure, the New York Botanical Garden is fabulous. I'll always love it. But it's on the water in the downtown with the best collection of orchids and bromeliads in the world, with this wonderful banyan grove. I mean, it really knocked my socks off when I toured. I had never been to the west coast of Florida before, only the East Coast. I really set foot on the campus and said, yeah, let's do it. And then I had to convince my husband that it was a good idea that we relocate with our young boys. And we did, and we love it here. And our kids have grown up in the school system. They're both at Pineview School. And it's been a terrific move for us as a family, for sure. We love it here. And we spend July on Longboat Key. Yeah, so during the pandemic, when the pandemic hit and we couldn't travel, I just looked up a beachfront condo in the Portobello complex. And I just thought, well, like, let's take the kids to the beach, and we rented it for the month of July in 2020, and we've rented it every July since. So I'm a huge fan of Longboat Key. I love it. For me, it's my escape. And I mean, you just cannot beat the beach and the Gulf here. It's spectacular. So I'm a fan of where you all live, for sure. Yeah.